No! Right.
This is new lens. He doesn't want to break it on my old one.
New lens day. So this is the Laowa. Is it say Laowa?
Probably.
Laowa?
Easy
Laowa 100mm 2.8 macro lens.
Manual.
Manual. And this, it feels really nice in the hand, doesn't it? It doesn't feel cheap. So it'd be, yeah. So what I did, this is a bit of a moment actually.
Is it? We don't have many of those.
Because a year ago I started with the Z system, and now I don't have any DSLR lenses.
Right.
So this is my last one was the macro Tamron lens.
Yeah.
Using the FTZ, and now I've exchanged it.
You've flogged it.
I've exchanged it for this open box one. So got a good deal on both of them, and here we are. But yeah, so what we're going to be doing is comparing this new Laowa lens to
with
your
this old second-hand F-mount macro, which I only bought this in lockdown because I was looking for things to do.
That's the thing. I think it takes a lot of time, a lot of patience, and you probably know how to do it quicker and things like that. But it'd be interesting to compare them because that's obviously a top quality macro lens, isn't it? I would say.
In its day, it would have been, yeah. It's not going to be up to the Z mount.
Well, that's the thing. Our experience with Z lenses they're always better. So yeah, the advantages of this lens is it's quite unique to the macro world. It goes 2:1. So usually they're 1:1, and this goes 2:1. Because that's why I like the 100. I nearly got the 50, the new Nikon 50 macro, but you have to be so close to the subject.
Yeah.
That you can't get the light there, and if it's it's a moving subject, you've got no chance. It's kind of fun because it's manual. So you got the f-stop there on the
hyperfocal markers.
And the hyperfocal markers, which you explained to me.
The focal hyper markers. The hyperfocal markers, which I explained to Russell the other day, but he just needs to learn how to say it.
But it's quite fun using a manual lens.
Yeah.
Which one's
what
better?
makes a better macro lens?
Yeah.
We'll find out.
Because
I was chuffed with mine last year. It was sharp and everything, and the focus stacking was. I did a Hornet and it was really good. But
it'll be interesting to see.
Okay,
right.
Time will tell.
So to begin with, macro photography is really difficult. To get focus at 1:1 or 2:1, it takes a lot of skill and precise movements and a very steady tripod and a steady hand as well, really, and especially to stack images together. It takes, I've been doing this for 3 days and it's been fun. You can see it as frustrating or like a science experiment. I don't think there's anything else like it in the field of photography, and that's the thing. So with the Nikon lens, it's autofocus, which means you can auto stack with the Nikon system, which is great. You can do the separation, how many photos. It's still tricky to get the area you want because it's going to leave gaps unless you take hundreds of photos, which you can do, of course. So, but with the Laowa lens, it's manual. So you can't use the inbuilt system. And the only way I have is to slowly move the focus ring the slightest movement possible in the other direction. And that's tricky in itself. But the other problem is that movement. It also might move, and it does move, the composition of the image. And so when you come to process them, they won't stack together. They'll be ghosting. So it's took several times, well, a lot more than several times sometimes, to get a lower image without ghosting and in the right area of focus. But it's, you get there in the end, and that's the kind of price you pay for the 2:1 because it goes twice as far as the Nikon lens. I mean, here's my pictures so far. I mean, I'm learning this, so if anyone has any good suggestions about how to image stack. I mean, there is rails, but you have to buy a good one. Focus range, I'm not sure the cheaper rails will be able to do that. So anyway, here's the first set of images. Now, of course, as you can see, I always try and shoot at 2:1 with the Laowa lens because that's what it's there for. It was a lot easier to shoot at 1:1. Image stacking at 1:1 is okay, but that's not really the point of the lens. So I've used 2:1 on all these examples. So if we zoom in with the Nikon, you can see how it really holds its value there, because this is image stacked to about 40 images. It's all really nice and in focus. So let's zoom in with the low hour lens, see if it holds value too. And as you can see, it's incredible. There's all kinds of things going on there you can't see the Nikon lens. And that's just incredible. Let's try and copy that. Again, this could be human error on my part with the Nikon lens. Not getting the right lighting or something like that. Okay, so again on the left is the Laowa lens. I think I'm saying that right. Give me the benefit of the doubt. So again, it's much closer, the 2:1. This was a stack of about 10 images, and it was really hard. It took a dozen times for me to get this quality, and I'm glad I'm learning, but it was really difficult. I even think the electronic shutter, even that causes a shake, which caused the ghosting on the stacking. And I did have to manually erase some of the layers, and then, yeah, basically it was difficult. I got there in the end. So obviously the lower lens doesn't have to crop in so far, and it does show marginal improvements there. You can see the dents here on the eye and the D there, and on the Nikon lens you can't see it. I mean, again, that could be my layering, the stacking on the Nikon lens. It could be perfectly the reason. But however, the lower lens, if you get it right, is really sharp. Beautiful image there. And again, this took several tries, and it isn't perfect. You can see on the edges on the screw, it's not in focus, but the rest of it is. And you can even see a little bit of fluff here, which is amazing because I didn't know it was there. And on the right, the Nikon has different colour tones, interestingly. Again, that could be my fault. And you also have these lines. I was using an LED light, but the lower lens doesn't show any of that, interestingly. So zooming in, the lower lens is amazing. Look at the quality. You can see the silver and golds, absolutely stunning. You can see where I've missed it as well, and a bit of ghosting there you can see. And the fluff, which I didn't even know it was there. And look at that, it's amazing. Brilliant quality throughout. But the Nikon lens can't, because it starts at 1:1. Again, that could be my fault. It's still nice. And you could also use both lenses as long lenses for portrait or taking anything at distance, because it's got that 2.8 at 100, which is nice. And again, they look very similar here. No real difference between them, apart from the Nikon lenses autofocus. So you can use the eye autofocus, and it found my eye straight away, even with the FTZ, and really nice. So with a lower lens, it's manual focus, so it's really hard to find the eyes, especially taking longer shots. But it's not done bad there. But again, the Nikon would win on this front because it's autofocus. But overall, the results are very similar, if not the same. So here's a selection of images I've taken. This was my own eye. I used SnapBridge to see what the camera was seeing, and then taken dozens and dozens of photos, and then chose the best ones, and then laid them together myself to get the best of each shot. And it's come together quite well, I think. And this was a spider. Well, spider mating or fighting, maybe a bit of both. It was in my windowsill, but the scene only lasted a second. So I managed to grab this photo, and it was manual focus as well. So I quickly just focused the best I could, and I got it mostly. I mean, for a quick shot just off the cuff, then I'm really happy with that. So these pictures here are just a single photo, no stacking. I can't remember the settings, and it doesn't tell you, of course, because it doesn't record the information. But I'm impressed with the quality and quite happy with it.
Whee! It's been a steep learning curve. So the results you've seen I'm not saying these are the facts of the lenses. This is what I've discovered so far. And if anyone as a beginner, and if anyone has an advice for me what to get that isn't too expensive to help me with this, I'm grateful for it. So based on the evidence, what do you think of the results of the two lenses?
Well, first of all, I'd just like to say I just hadn't got the patience. Russell sent me home quite quickly because I've just hadn't got the patience, and he spent about the next 3 days doing some of these things. So, so I found them really interesting. I loved your eye photo. God knows how you did that. You're using manual focus on macro lenses anyway because the focus is so sort of critical. But having an autofocus macro lens makes focus stacking so much easier, which we had a bit of a go at, and then you did use actually. So
yeah, even focus stacking is difficult because you have to get the right distances between the stacks and you get the right lighting and everything. It's still a difficult thing to do.
yeah,
But the Laowa is the great advantage is over that is you can get 2 to 1, so you can get twice as close, which is seen on the examples. But you have to slowly move this around.
yeah. So you're manually focusing those steps on the focus stacking,
and it would move it slightly and ghost, and I have to start
because
again.
you haven't. I think one of the things that people will probably tell you is to do that on a manual lens, you need other equipment to do it more easily, efficiently.
The thing. I looked at focus rails, but the cheaper ones, I don't think they'll be small enough increments.
Right.
So I've got to look into that if anyone has any advice. But yeah, so I've got good results with this.
Yep. Now you've done all your tests, which one, if either, gets the Russ and Loz vote of approval? Because there was similar money, weren't they? Similar money, $450, something like that, second hand, open box, whatever.
Yeah.
So if you had that budget, $450, does one of them, both of them get approval, both of them get rejected? Which one would you choose in preference?
The Nikon gets my approval because of the autofocus and it's sharp.
Right.
The Laowa lens gets my stamp of approval because it goes 2 to 1 and it's sharp. So they're both good, but if you have the patience for and ability to do the focus stacking, great.
Manually. So they're both good lenses.
Yeah, so why would I get this lens? Because it's 2 to 1, it's sharp, it's cheap, it's good construction, and it's fun to do and you've got the time to do it. So yeah, I do recommend this lens. I recommend both of them. But would I stretch towards the new Nikon Z105? It's twice the price of this, but the reviews I've seen are it's the best macro lens ever.
I think you've got to be really into macro then, haven't you?
Yeah, that's
that was your thing.
Yeah, so yeah, this lens is for me because of the price, and I don't do macro that often.
Yeah.
So for doing it now and again, for the odd shots, and for doing it when I want to do it, this is fine. Yeah. But I would love autofocus on it, and if I did do macro more, I would go for the Z105. Yeah. So if you have any advice on how I can do things better,
please
get better results, please help me.
Help him. Russell needs help.
I do need help.
Because I just abandoned him after a couple of hours.
I won't be doing focus stacking again for a while because it was just too much.
Need a rest now.
Yeah.